Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for the 21st of August. All right, now as we come into the start of Tuesday trading in Asia, now bit of a follow-on effect from yesterday. What I was sort of talking about is that there's a chance for a bit of a short squeeze at the top side on a lot of these, the Aussie, Kiwi, I was going to say a lot of these majors, Aussie, Kiwi, Euro, and Sterling. Now, they've actually really kicked in quite nicely. Now, it was sort of more driven on the back of some crap that Trump's come up with. But what you are seeing is we've seen a little bit of a break here in Euro, and it opens up a potential move up towards sort of 116 the figure. Now, that might seem a little bit weird, but it can get there. And I think the opportunity is really good because the US fundamentals in the US are very good. This is a Trump situation. There may even be a bit of a case for a stop loss run here above that trend line there in Euro. Kiwi potentially up to 66.80, which isn't far away. And we do have the Aussie RBA minutes today, so we may even see it squeeze up towards 74.10. Dollar yen, once again, I'd say is the catalyst for the dollar move. Okay, this dollar weakness. You can see it's pretty clear cut, and I'll come into the news in a second. If anything, I was thinking back, it's always easier the day after or after you see something, but we did see those really strong Canadian CPI numbers, and I had on the analysis yesterday, dollar CAD is bearish. It's the clearest currency with direction. I was so surprised and actually a little bit pissed off. It got up to 130.90, would you believe? And it's now back down here at 130.40. So that would have been a great level to sell. Monday, obviously not the best day to be trading, but sometimes if you do have clear direction, it's something to potentially look at. Now, just coming across to look at give you a look at the setup here for the US dollar. Now, we have seen it break through that 96 to figure. It was pretty close yesterday, and now we're seeing stops triggered. Now, I think this is a bit of a position squaring. You can see down here it's massively oversold, but support isn't, down here around 95, sort of 15. Okay, so it's still got a bit of room to move. And when it's in this situation where the trend lines are wide apart, there is a situation where you can just see it slowly drift lower, slowly bleed. It's slow enough to stop people getting out too early. And what it does is everyone starts adjusting their stops and they end up getting really screwed by the end of it. The dollar, China, well, it's down through that key level here. And as I was sort of suggesting yesterday, you can draw some Fibonacci's, but it's sort of starting to trade sideways. It's starting to get a little bit oversold as well, but we do need another event to really kick this into gear. Equity markets, well, pretty flat to mixed. I can't see too much happening at the moment. So you come back looking at the dollar, you're like, okay, I can see the US dollar's fallen against most pairs. What's going on? And then if you switch back over here to your main page, well, you'll see this pelican, once again, coming in. Like, he demands Fed help on economy. I mean, the Fed are managing the economy so it doesn't blow up the other way. He's got no idea. I think what he's doing is he's playing to the sort of that mid-US sort of belt who all voted for him, sort of saying, I'm here to help you. I'll tell the Fed are bad. They're just doing their job. And that's why usually the central banks are completely separate to the governments, right? Because the governments are idiots. Dollar falls ahead of US-China trade talk. And then obviously on Trump's criticism of the Fed. Now, that's just so outrageous. It doesn't even really sort of need explanation. It's just stupid. So what you have is the dollar sort of drifting off. It's gone through a couple of technical levels, and this was enough to sort of push it through. And that's pretty much it. You go down through the rest of the news here. Erdogan, the Turkish president, sort of coming out saying, he's looking for allies, anyone to sort of join his crew. So you'd expect all the terrorists to jump on board there. I wouldn't think too much else. So then you go through everything else, and you've got all these. And there's a lot of geopolitical stuff sort of simmering in the background. A lot of it's regurgitated. Now, when the market does get this regurgitated activity, they become desensitized, and that's when things don't seem to play out so much. All right, so we've got the US dollar on the back foot. Now, just coming into the MyFX Trading Hub, right? So the key things you want to be looking at is when you look at the charts, and why I look at the majors is just to get an idea of what's going on. Now, the Aussie, Euro, Kiwi, and Sterling are all correlating quite nicely. Okay, but what the situation is, this is a geopolitical situation where Trump is jawboning the US dollar lower. He's just trying to talk it down and make himself feel important. Now you come over to the upcoming events. What could really impact the major currencies today? Well, we don't have much on the board at this stage. We've got the RBA monetary policy meeting minutes. Now they've expressed concern about the potential US-China or the impact on China from the US trade tariffs. That is being highlighted in their statement from the last meeting. I would expect it to be in the minutes as well. And that's where the dollar yuan or the yuan itself becomes a high impacting event or variable as we move forward. Now, tomorrow, things kick off a little bit more. We've got the Kiwi retail sales, but it's a long time between drinks. So just hold on. The week hasn't really started yet. Okay, I know the currencies are moving, but as far as direction goes, they aren't exactly clear. Now, we've got, I've just slightly tuned up the daily analysis snapshot as well. So you can actually come back and start to get a bit of an idea of what we're thinking as far as where the majors are going. So at the moment, I've still got the US dollar bullish, dollar CAD bearish, and the Kiwi on bearish, even though it's slightly rallying at this point. That's because the RBNZ and the Bank of Canada, or even the Fed for that matter, all have pretty clear sentiment at this point. Now, that's where the major currencies are. The rest of them are sort of gyrating all over the place. Now, if you do, once again, we'll get this tuned up. If you do click on the flags, you will come in and get to the major detailed analysis. If I just come back over here to the US dollar, you'll see the basic components of what we've got. So you've got the central bank, the economic data itself, and the technical outlook, and then what I consider to be the action for that currency pair. So if you want to sort of get a bit of a breakdown of those three core functions at the top, just scroll down and you'll see exactly what the central bank is focusing on, what key economic numbers they are looking at, as well as the inflation targets, and then you've got the technical outlook down the bottom here as well. So I'll probably slightly adjust that. The hourly chart is drifting lower now. Sentiment though, overriding sentiment, daily and weekly charts are all still up. So at this point, to me, the technical outlook for the US dollar is still upwards. So don't forget to have a look at that. No major trades. As I said, that Canadian CPI numbers, usually probably, we should have had something in that yesterday. I'm a little bit pissed off that I wasn't a little bit more forward thinking. At this stage though, don't forget, Trump is jawboning the majors. So when you are coming back to the major currency pairs and you're looking for, where are the good opportunities? Obviously, you follow the economic numbers. I still think, the Kiwi is down and dollar CAD is down and the dollar is up. Now, some of these currencies, this is part of the noise of just trying to navigate what's going through the market. The move here in dollar yen, to me, is all geopolitical. Okay, that's a reflection of just where the dollar weakness is. So if that turns around, things have cooled down. If it keeps falling, well, then Trump's obviously doing something behind the scenes and really upsetting the apple cart. And that's where we are at the moment, guys. So it's a bit of a wait and see. There's not much, there's no data to really give, except for the Aussie, to give these majors any sort of direction. You would expect sterling to find good selling interest up above 128, so around 128.20. Euro, it's a bit of a no man's. If anything, I still like euro lower, and I'll be potentially looking for a false break back down into the range there as well. Same for the Kiwi for that matter. But we'll have to wait and see how the numbers drop. And the RBA, that's the major focus. So you're looking at Aussie and Aussie crosses around 11:30 in Australia. And then from there, if you come back to the major numbers, let's have a look through the rest of the numbers that are coming out. So there are obviously a lot more events than what's on our high impacting calendar. Public sector net borrowing. This is I'd say it's more a second tier number. So you may get something out of the UK, out of the pound today. Now it's a bit of a sign of pretty much business and consumer confidence. If the people are borrowing more, then they feel very comfortable to invest, and that's a good thing. If those numbers are weaker, well, that should put a bit of downward pressure on on sterling. You come back down also in the middle of the night there, you've got the milk auctions, very important for the Kiwi. But, that really only comes into play if there are large sanctions, like we saw Russia do about a year and a half ago, put huge sanctions on milk, and that really crushed the Kiwi. So at this point, I can't see much else going through the market. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for me. As I said, it's a pretty quiet sort of day, I'd say, coming up. We've got that Jackson's Hole Symposium on this weekend as well. Just bear in mind, that's another loose event. That's probably a waste of time for everyone. I'm sure Trump can't wait to get over there and abuse everyone. And we'll see how that plays out. All right, guys, have a good day, and we'll see you in the live trade zone. Cheerio.